here, because when you see the heavy rain coming out, remember, heavy rain is falling from a really high altitude as well. That's dragging air down. So the wet microburst, or downburst in this case, is producing a lot of wind. I want to show you, we had an updated warning here for the southern part of this storm. So they've issued a couple more warnings for basically the whole line. And I think this is what we're going to see today. Basically from northern Mecklenburg County all the way down to central Chester County. There's one giant severe thunderstorm warning till 5 o'clock. Damaging winds, and all these are considerable tag severe thunderstorm warnings, which means the potential for 70-mile-per-hour winds and up to golf ball size hail. So it's not going to be shocking to me if we see a lot of wind damage reports. You saw a new warning just pop up. That's that warning down there for Chester County. So anytime you see this pop up on our maps, that's an indication to us that there's a new warning in our viewing area. And if I click on the thunderstorm icon, it'll go right to that warning. So this is for Union County, South Carolina. Ooh, and this one you got to watch. You see that little weak echo region right there? It's got that kidney bean shape to it. That's a sign, the reflectivity. This is telling me, just looking at the radar, that this has got rotation in the mid-levels of the storm when you see the precipitation wrap around. And that's when you can see a tornado spin up. That's a supercell right there heading towards Carlisle, which is just across the border, southwest corner of Chester County. So this storm, all these storms, I expect to be warning for these all the way through the evening hours here as we come up at the top of the hour. And we're basically going to see this throughout the evening. So here, what's this view from Carowinds? So Carowinds, I'm trying to get my perspective here, which direction we're looking. Looks like we're looking off towards the southwest. Yeah, so that's Carowinds Boulevard there, and I think that's the DeWalt building there. That's the DeWalt outlet, and TJ Maxx used to be over there in that area. So we're looking off as their distribution center, those giant buildings you see there off of Carowinds Boulevard. So Belmont, oh, you can see the hail bouncing off the windshield now. Let's go back to KJ if he's up. KJ, I see you're getting some hail now.
That's right, Brad. I was just sending you a message on Teams. Yes, we're getting the hail now, sitting here in this parking lot in Belmont. It's coming down, and it's really starting to shift. As you noted on radar, you can really start to see that reflectivity there that would give us the returns of potentially hail up near Mount Holly. And now that part is starting to shift just south of there in this part of the cell, moving towards Belmont, where I am located now in the parking lot. And yeah, reflectivity is really starting to show where we could potentially having that strong enough updraft that can produce hail. So it is bouncing off the storm tracker now. It's just really starting to come down, not too intense, just kind of bouncing off here and there. It looks like, you know, small rocks, if I may. As we know, it's ice, but there's definitely some buoyancy with the hail as it comes down. If you can kind of see a few pieces there on top of the Chevy Storm Tracker, looks almost like some rocks sitting up there. But yes, we're in the part of the storm. Hail is not too bad now, not that significant, but there's more of it, I do think, as we continue to look at radar, because we're still in that part of the cell with it. But as you know, radar is just a tiny bit delayed, so it could be a matter of it just passed, as my radar may be slow to update here.
Yeah, one of the things, this is pretty classic setup here. Remember, the hail shaft is going to be slightly behind the rain. You see how the rain's let up a little bit here, but the hail's beginning to pick up. And so from an order standpoint, this is the kind of way it works. You get the strong winds out ahead of the main line, and then you get basically you get the rain and then the wind and the hail on the backside. And if there's a tornado, it's all the way on the backside. So this little blue area, this just moved over our Dallas camera, by the way. I glanced at it quickly. It's completely in clouds, but they're flying by. Those bright blues there, the reason I was focusing on there is I wanted to query those and show you just how strong the winds are. So this just moved through the Dallas area, 60-mile-per-hour wind. So this is going to head towards Spencer Mountain, Mount Holly, Lowesville, up there towards Mount Mountain Lake. There's some strong winds. Now, where KJ was down in Belmont, he had strong winds, but now he's getting some small hail that's moving through that area. So we're starting to see a lot of wind and hail reports coming out of Gaston County right now. So as we mentioned earlier, and I'm going to go back to the radar wider view just to set this up, because Some of us are just joining us at 4 o'clock here. We've been on the air for a tornado warning, but we've also stayed on because these storms today, they're not normal severe thunderstorm warnings. These are what we call considerable tornado or severe thunderstorm warnings, meaning they have winds of up to 70 miles per hour. So, and often the case in this situation, we want you to treat them like tornado warnings. So stay inside, stay away from the windows, get an interior room. Do you need to have the helmet on in that room? Probably not, but I would want you in the middle of the house. Away from those trees and any outside windows. So Vanessa and Nick, you're over at the desk. I know we're going to reset here because a lot of folks will probably be joining us here at the top of the hour.
Yeah, it's 4:03 at the top of the hour, top of 4 o'clock. We're continuing to track the severe weather coming through our area. I mean, we're getting reports in real time from Bessemer City, throughout Gaston County as that storm sort of moves in. We're also moving in towards that evening commute as well.
Yeah, so for folks who are just joining us, as Brad mentioned a couple of moments ago, we came on the air early when we were dealing with a tornado warning that has since expired. We're now looking at severe thunderstorm warnings for multiple counties in our area. As Brad mentioned, we are taking those very seriously. Wind is a concern. We're seeing thousands of power outages, particularly west of the Charlotte area. And we're also seeing some big delays on the roadways as we're seeing visibility reduced. So we have Brad standing by. What areas are we watching right now for this warning at this point?
I'm just able to check on some of my feed. We're getting a lot of reports out of Gaston County, guys, of power lines, street lights out, as well as tree limbs down. So where KJ is in Belmont, I'm getting reports now to the west. Now, the two storms, it's really two supercells. I would call them three because I'm going to widen this out. All these supercells, one cell there, one there, and one there. So from north to south, 1, 2, 3, all of them have severe thunderstorm warnings. They're not normal severe thunderstorm warnings. As we mentioned earlier today, there's 3 levels of severe thunderstorm warnings. You may have not even known that. There's the base one. So this is for your typical summer pop-up thunderstorm. That's the base thunderstorm warning. Right now, we're getting these warnings, considerable to destructive. So this is the type of storm that impacted Rock Hill a couple weekends ago. I think on the 20th of April was the date. You can see we had 70 to 80 mile per hour winds and golf ball to baseball size hail. So these aren't normal thunderstorms today. Got to treat them like tornado warnings, and like tornado warnings, you got to seek shelter. You got to get to the middle of your house. You cannot be outside. You can't be in your car. Get inside, seek shelter. These will cause damage to your home as well. So we want you to be inside, away from those windows. Maybe not in the perfect situation where you would be for a tornado, maybe in that room with the helmet on. In this case, we want you to at least be away from the windows and outside walls because you know your home better than we do. And there's probably a tree that makes you nervous in one part of the yard, maybe the neighbor's yard. Maybe get away from that side of the house because especially with these winds coming in, we would be concerned that those trees would come down. I'm going to do an updated storm track. I've been turning the lightning off too. Trust me, lightning is everywhere, but I want to give you an updated storm track on this. And I'm going to track the leading edge. So this is not the heaviest rain. This is the beginning of the worst of the weather. So this is kind of give you a rough idea. I'll put it on screen here. So Charlotte 407, and we've been tracking this all day. Quail Hollow Club, they evacuated the course and shut it down, thank goodness, way ahead of time, because every time I track this, it gets earlier and earlier. And that's sometimes the concern with these bow echoes. They're fast moving, they pick up speed. So when you look at this, I'll get out of the way. Matthews 422, Mint Hill 426, Clear Creek, Concord 430. And again, because of the fast speed of these storms and because of the delay and whatever service you're using to watch this right now, get plus or minus 10 minutes on these, please. Don't use that exact time. That means you need to seek shelter 10 minutes before that time and stay in it longer than we tell you because of the potential that that is going to continue to produce some severe weather. Let's go back to the velocity data because this shows us the strongest winds. So this is really, really impressive. Around Mount Holly, now moving north side of the airport. I don't know, I'm going to check with the anchor. I was just going to think, is there a ground stop at the airport? I would assume so right now based on this radar signature. But just to give you an idea, here's the wind speeds in Mount Holly, Belmont, near the Whitewater Center, 485 at 85. And this would be the approach to Charlotte Douglas International, the north side, those runways coming in from the north. So I would assume the airport is probably in a ground stop. And that is going to cause damage, guys. Mountain Island Lake, north side of town, heading towards northwest Charlotte and eventually uptown. So Nick and Vanessa, we're probably going to see a lot more damage reports coming in now. This is moving into a heavily populated area of Metro Charlotte.
we're definitely seeing the power outages climb. So we are seeing definitely some damage to the lines. We've gotten some reports from Duke Energy's outage map that some of this is related to limbs coming into contact with equipment. And so, yeah, you can see, Nick, here this map that they've popped up for us showing those
I think
outages.
when you check it was about 26,000.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of power outages. And you mentioned the damage. I mean, we're getting reports from the National Weather Service in Gaston County. You know, wind damage, large trees down on power lines, specific roads, Crowder's Creek Road, the I-85 bridge. That roadway is closed. Also over in Bessemer City, Kings Mountain area, we're seeing some wind damage reports. And Brad, you mentioned the airport right now. There are 450 delays at Charlotte Douglas Airport. I'm checking X/ or formerly known as Twitter, and I haven't seen anything about a ground stoppage yet, but they did tweet that the airport is expecting severe weather this afternoon, and they're asking folks at the airport, going to the airport, to check with their airline on or flight status before leaving the airport, or leaving to go towards the airport. So we haven't got an official word from the airport, but as you mentioned, Brad, expected to hear something soon.
And we are seeing a live look right now of that commute starting to bog down. I believe this is going to be a 77 from what I could see from the label at the bottom left. Okay, so yes, this is I-77, where we've got some delays. Of course, Nick, you alluded to this. We're getting into the rush hour period, but rain is never a friend to folks on the roadways. We see 77 pretty much jammed, heading both directions from the uptown area down south to, I'd say, around that 485 interchange. But, we'd focused a lot on Gaston County and some of the weather impacts we were seeing out there, the reduced visibility. We know our KJ Jacobs was out in Belmont in the storm tracker, had to pull over because it was just too windy. The rain was just too heavy.
That's a scary sight.
Yeah, Gaston County, I mean, 85, already a trouble spot for folks anyways on a normal day. That is slowing down pretty heavily. We're seeing heading towards the Gastonia area from Charlotte, and 321, so just north of that interchange with 85, 321 is really backed up in that Dallas Township area.
Yeah, guys, I'm getting some reports. There's no ground stop at the airport. I'm surprised, but they are holding all inbound flights until 4:30. So nothing is landing at the airport. So all inbound flights are going to be held at their origin until 4:30. So I'm not seeing. I just saw a couple planes sneak off to the south, looking at my flight tracking software, and so we're not seeing much there. But I will tell you this too: we're getting some new reports of some baseball-sized hail in Union County, South Carolina. So down to the south, that secondary storm. I want to show you the winds here first. Locally, we've got winds 60, 70 miles per hour. We got to watch this carefully. There are some indications of rotation in North Charlotte, NODA north, up towards Huntersville, Cornelius, North Lake Mall area. There might be something trying to spin up here, so I'm a little worried about that right now, keeping an eye on that. But I want to show you the wider view real quickly. I'm going to take off our storm track because I was just looking, chatting with the Weather Service. The storm to the south, and I was talking about, this is storm number 3 right here. This storm right here is a supercell. They're going to upgrade this for baseball-sized hail in Chester County. So in Chester, I want you to be on guard for baseball-sized hail. And if we're going to see a tornado warning, it could come from that cell. It's showing some signs of rotation, and also the one directly over Charlotte. Because if we zoom in closely here, if you look at this, you see this bulging. We're getting some inflow here, so we're going to see something here. This is a really bad storm north of Charlotte, and unfortunately, this is a bad time during the commute. So we got some video. I think it's from, where's this from, guys? Lake Wylie? Yeah, this is Lake Wylie as the storm's entering. You can see the outflow. Look at the trees swaying there. That's on the tamer side of this storm, believe it or not. I'll kind of move the map down there. So down here towards Lake Wylie, we didn't have as much wind as we do north, but you could see still enough that it's blowing the trees around. And just a power outage update, I was checking with Cleveland County. Over 30% of the county is without power right now in Cleveland County. That's about 10,000 people, over 10,000 in Gaston County, and about 3,000 in Lincoln County. And that's been the whole trek. So, wow, look at that wind. So you see the rain curtains or the sheets of rain. This is on I-85, correct? So this is showing, you see the car slowing. Look how much water is on the roads. You can see it picking up here. Make sure you have your headlights on, wipers on, lights on. Remember, that's state law here. Give yourself plenty of time and stopping distance in these situations. I know people love to turn their flashers on. Don't do that. That just confuses people. They think you're broken down. Your lights on, they'll be the best visibility you can get. Turn your lights on. And if you have your hazards on, you better be pulled over on the side of the road. That's what I would tell you. If you were too worried about driving, don't put the hazards on, just pull over and put them on. Don't keep driving. Keeping space, these cars are doing a good job keeping space between them. But this storm is continuing to push in from the west. And again, all along this line, we've seen power outages left and right. It's just crazy how many power outages we got, which is expected with 70-mile-per-hour winds. Here's a live view down at Carowinds right now. We can see the rain has made it almost to there. It's hard to tell if it's raining, probably just started. Yeah, there it is. I can see the wind blowing. But boy, look how dark the clouds are there and how low they are. Definitely do not want to be out in this today. Wait till this storm passes. Again, we were making you weather aware all week about this storm system, and the concern was that these weren't going to be normal storms, and they're not your normal springtime pop-up storms. These have had a history of producing large hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds. Think about that, 70-mile-per-hour winds. That is going to cause damage. So let me widen this out and kind of show you the whole picture here. If you're up in Statesville on Interstate 40 corridor, it's raining up there, but you're kind of in the clear from the severe right now. But I'm going to do one big track on this. So we're going to track the whole line to kind of give you an idea, because it is kind of an interesting couple of storms. I'm going to track it just a little bit out to the east. So that's an updated storm track. You can see it's pretty much right where we expected. Quail Hollow has slowed down a little bit, thank goodness. Looks like it's raining probably there now, though, at 4:18, so it's over. They've cleared the course. Harrisburg, Mint Hill, 4:20-ish. Matthews around the same time. Rock Hill, 4:38. Leslie, Marvin area, we're getting into Union County, Unionville now, closer to 5 o'clock. So you've got time to seek shelter. If you know somebody in the path of the storm, especially if you just experienced this, call them, text them, say, hey, this storm's no joke. This thing just came over us. We lost power, or it was horrible driving in. Whatever adjectives you can use to get people to seek shelter ahead of this storm and get inside. I mean, it's unfortunate this is happening at a horrible time of day during rush hour. People are kind of already in the traffic.